Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Tonight, our focus is Anambra State, politics and security. And I've been speaking with Ejimofor Opara, as the National Publicity Secretary of ABGA. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program.
Thank you for still having me.
So let's talk about whether or not the governor has done enough to win the heart of the people of Anambra State.
Yeah.
At the moment, Anambra State is gradually becoming or turning into an ungovernable space. There are criminal elements scattered across the state, killing their own people. As a result of this, the people of Anambra State are living in mortal fear of the criminals. So I want to talk to me about how that looks like a score point for the governor. Okay,
first of all, that statement is, to say the least, quite false.
Anambra
is not turning into an ungovernable space. It has never been an ungovernable space. And of course, we agree that there may be pockets of issues that are not peculiar to the state. It's something that has been quite...
Security matters and insecurity is not
what I want to tell you is that the level of insecurity generally is not, especially that of the southeast, it's a teething problem that calls for some regional approach to solving. It's a southeast issue, and we know why. And of course,
we don't know why.
Okay, now we understand that a lot has happened with regards to insecurity in the southeast, and it stems from the fact that some criminal elements, have hijacked, the process of a hitherto proscribed group known as IPOB. Those calling for, if you like, secessionist or maybe freedom and all that from the Nigerian state. And however it is, that the way the outcome of that agitation has been managed, may have not been so properly done, and that has given rise to pockets of various other issues that has troubled the region. And but like I said,
it's been doing enough. If you say insecurity is a regional problem.
I'm trying to give you a background.
Okay.
So whether the governors are doing it or not, I will tell you what the governor of Anambra State is doing as I proceed. What I'm trying to make you understand is that
I asked the question because you said insecurity is a regional problem.
Yeah,
in the Southeast. And that's why I'm asking if the governors are doing it. Because I was speaking with Senator Joseph Khaled, who says. Yes, he agreed that insecurity is a regional problem, and he says this will continue to happen.
Yeah.
When the governors do not come forward, to meet former governors for assistance on how they can, mitigate the security issue. So that was why I asked if the governors are doing enough.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the governors are they overwhelmed? As a collective. No, okay. Not far from it. But what I want you to understand is that at the heart of this insecurity is a psychological misconception, which has to be corrected. Because, as it were, the people, have to come to the realization that the so-called liberators are the predators. They are the actual criminal elements, who have, started to trouble their peace. And that realization is coming up, is because one thing I can tell you that Governor Soludo has done from the very, first day he got into office was to get our people to understand that what is going on is simply nothing but lucrative criminality. And remember that Governor Soludo was amongst the earliest callers, if not the foremost, who beckoned to the federal government to look for a political solution to the continued incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The reason for that is, if this agitation, if the so-called agitators are saying the continued incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu is the reason for the upset or the various issues we have around the southeast, then give him to us so we can go back home and coordinate our region. But that aside, but we have come to establish for a shorty that what is happening in the southeast is no longer agitation or a secessionist movement. It's just plain criminality, lucrative criminality. And this is why Governor Soludo has taken time to call evil by its name. Remember, there was a time when everybody was talking about unknown gunmen, unknown gunmen. No, the governor said, no, these are not unknown gunmen.
So these are people's brothers. Government now prescribing IPO as a terrorist.
I didn't get that. You said what?
So you agree with the federal government now prescribing IPOB as a terrorist organization?
Far from it, because IPOB as a body has come to dissociate themselves from some of the issues happening around the Southeast. But what we are trying to say is this: you can't mix lime and lemons together and expect to establish a difference. What we're saying is, if these issues must be clearly, addressed, then they must be isolated and they must be treated in isolation. It's not something, you don't lump it up and you want to, give a dog a bad name just to hang it. So I am not here to...
Do they have the political will to do this?
Who do have the political will?
The governors?
Yeah, well, what I know, yes.
All right.
What I know, yes, they have the political will to do it.
But how do you feel when you hear concerned stakeholders and proud sons and daughters of Anambra State say Governor Soludo is sleeping on duty when it comes to security matters in Anambra State?
When you say proud sons and daughters of Anambra, well, I can tell you that if you mention 2-3 names, I'll tell you what they represent, and I'll tell you that these are people who are politicizing the discourse. Yes, I'll tell you that they are just simply politicizing the discourse.
So
because Governor Soludo from the day one, put his leg to the pedal to addressing the issues of insecurity in the state, and the results have been quite manifest. When we came on board, when the governor came on board in 2022. About 8 local governments were under siege, under the siege of this so-called unknown gunmen. Then I'm sure you guys in the media saw how local government headquarters were burnt to rubble and all that. But between 2022 and now, you've not had such incidences. Most of those communities that were deserted have now recorded massive homecoming from the people, from the citizens of those communities. So it didn't happen from the blues. Someone made it happen. So anybody who
but we still have some killings in some communities. And if you say the governor is not sleeping, I mean, why then do we have economic and commercial activities being paralyzed every Monday and sometimes on Tuesday? Well, does it not bother you that your people are more afraid, more scared of some criminal elements who say, don't go out on Mondays, don't make money on Mondays, than what the state can't hold and then what the state government is saying? Is it not sad enough that your people respect that because they do not understand what the government is capable or whether or not the government is capable of protecting them?
No, you may need to revisit the markets again in Anambra on Mondays. I can tell you that in the last 1 to 2 years right now, we've had very considerable, non-compliance with such, very devious
How many
directive.
Local governments?
There's no local government on that. There's no space. There's no single space in Anambra that is under the firm control of any non-state actor.
Are you sure of what you're saying? Because I listened to Governor Soludo 2 months ago, and he accepted, he acknowledged the fact that, I mean, just about 2 or 4 local governments, 4 local governments at the moment are safer than what they used to be.
So you're misquoting what the governor said, because I can tell you that even in a year like this December, a high-profile wedding ceremony took place in Uli, that people from various walks of life in the country visited, and everybody left without any story. You go down to Nnewi South, for instance, there used to be a hotbed. About 2 very, and other pockets of events took place. There was this massive, let me tell you, we have the data, and I can tell you that last Yuletide, that's the 2024 Christmas, we've never seen the massive return of the Anambra back home as we saw last December. So people don't come back home to such unsafe spaces. So anyone, if you tell me maybe 1 or 2 communities where we still have, some elements of, pockets of incidences and which our security forces are tackling head on. Yeah, if you say that, of course, and I would ask you, is there any community in the world that is crime-free? Good. So, but if I want to say, look, there's no local government in Anambra State today that is under the control of
We'll ask our correspondent to confirm that.
Yeah, sure. Of course,
but Governor Soludo has now launched Operation Udogachi.
Udogachi, yes.
A security outfit. Your people say this is happening because re-election is close. If it meant well, you should have done this a long time ago.
Talk is cheap. And I told you when you said, your earlier question when you said some how did you put them? You said notable Anambra sons and daughters. I told you, my first response was, mention their names and I'll tell you what they represent. So when you say...
there are concerned stakeholders who are not even politicians.
Well, however it is, you may not sit here to know whether they're politicians or not. So, but
no, I'm telling you, they are not politicians.
No, well, whatever.
I can't give you names.
However it is, but I know what I'm saying from a very informed perspective.
I mean, you're a politician
anyone who tells you I'm a politician, I'm a resident, I'm a citizen, you get it. So it does me no good to come here and begin to say what doesn't exist. And I'm telling you, you can fact check me. So, but when you say people are saying why the election, I just give you a background that when we came into power, about 8 local governments were under siege. That's at today, none. You get it? So for somebody who all of a sudden started experiencing unusual and very massive peace and tranquility that has brought improved livability in the state, the person may want to take it for granted and say, oh, why are we having this improved security? We keep on improving every day. Even the police force, they keep on updating themselves, they keep on going on refresher courses, strategies keep on changing by the day because these criminals are not sleeping. So if the state government has come up with a unique strategy to strengthen what existed, why should somebody come and say he's just waking up because it's election? But I don't blame the person. This is the period where people would come up and say all sorts. But the facts are there to speak for themselves, and I can tell you that Anambra, as of today, is the safest space.
There's a 5 million bounty for any whistleblower. But how protected is a whistleblower in Anambra State?
Absolutely protected. Very protected. So we've had recorded successes,
so
huge successes.
So it's not about saying absolutely protected.
Huge successes.
What mechanisms are on ground to ensure proper investigation are done so people don't start pointing to their enemies?
First of all, when you want to provide intelligence to us, there are dedicated numbers that you must call. We don't even need to know who you are. There's a control room where professionals who have been trained entertain these calls, and of course sieve the information you're passing to them, because anybody can just wake up and just call and allege anything. So it's not like an all-comers affair where people stand up to abuse flagrantly. There are still systems within the whole process that helps to check for misinformation or malicious information. So it's something that it's structured, a well-structured system. And like I told you, we've recorded massive successes. There have been very credible intelligence that has been provided, that has given birth to, very successful operations. It's already in the news. You know about the hotel that was demolished, in Opara somewhere in Idemili South local government. And many other, arrests and raids that has taken place that has been going on in the state in the last 2-3 weeks. These are, products of very sound intelligence.
I said in Idemili South, particularly Akuku community. Akuku. So, I mean, I knew how peaceful that community was. So it's so sad to see that that community has now turned into what it is now. There was I don't know if there is still Agune Chamber.
I don't know. That's exactly where I need to now get, make things clear to you. Operation Udogachi is an operation. The Anambra State Homeland Security Law of 2025 has set up a security outfit now known as Agune Chamber, right? And, when you say Akuku, Akuku has always been very peaceful. From the time you left it up until now, I'm not sure there's been no recorded incidences of crime or anything that has happened. In general. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, that of course there can be pockets. Oba is a developed, more you can't call it by rural area if you serve there, because it's very, very, very close to Onitsha and all that. So you should expect that some spillover, flash crimes can happen in some hot beds, and security agencies are also living up to it and matching them, meeting them at the very point where they are emanating from. So there's no. I want to actually deconstruct that notion that there are, Anambra has gone from where high it was to, no. Anambra is better. Anambra is safer. If you want to go to Akuku today, come to Akuku, and I'll come to Akuku and drink Kumbo with you. And you would enjoy yourself the way you did when you served there.
All right, so this is you speaking. It depends on whether or not the people agree with you. But for the purpose of clarity, there is Agune Chamber and there is Operation Udogachi. Are these two separate security outfits?
These are not. Agune Chamber is a security outfit. Udogachi is the operation. It's an operation, yes, to check crime. Some developing new dimensions of criminality that the state has started to fight, severely, fiercely and forcefully. Maybe tomorrow it could change to some other thing and all that. But Agune Chamber is set up by law as a security outfit, to help the formal policing structures in both intelligence gathering and crime fighting.
How equipped is the security outfit? Because this is what the APC is saying. No investor would risk investing in a state where security is not guaranteed, which is why many of our people are hesitant to come home and invest. The current situation or security situation in Anambra is alarming and demands urgent attention. The African Action Congress is also talking. The security situation has sunk to such depths that many are living in fear, with people resorting to begging for while traveling to their communities. This is unacceptable. We cannot continue to watch our people perish. So the APC, 2 questions here. Yeah. I know you would want to react to what these political parties have said, but how equipped is the security outfits? Okay, now I can tell you that from the successes that has trailed, that has recorded so far. Because you know the kind of sophisticated weapons these guys carry. And I'm telling you that from the successes recorded so far, you would agree with me that they are no less equipped, in any way. They are very much equipped. And for people who are, going about spilling all sorts about Anambra and the business environment, if you have your Google there, look at the ease of doing business report, the last ease of doing business report, and tell me where Anambra is, and tell me if a state that is part of the top 5 states with highest levels of ease of doing business, has anything to do with the kinds of insecure narrative that they are trying to weave around it. I tell you, this people, what they are playing is politics, and it's so sad, very, very sad, that people who are, in your words, notable sons and daughters, if you may, of a state are coming on out for selfish purposes to want to demarcate, the state they supposedly want to govern, because there's no data supporting anything they are saying. I just told you, look at the last record on the ease of doing business. Look at Anambra's fiscal profile and see these things, and you tell me if any of their assertion is supported by any notable or credible data. None. So I tell you, it's just simple politics. All right. So, talking about ease of doing business, one of the promises Professor Soludo made to his people is to transform Anambra State into an industrialized and economically prosperous state. Yeah. Where are we on that? Well, we have gone, the foundation works are, quite strong and coming up very strongly. And like you rightly said, Governor Soludo promised Anambra a livable and prosperous homeland, well industrialized. People call it the African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley metaphor. And today, we have new cities springing up across, the state. We have the Oka 2.0, where we are building what we call the AMIC, Anambra Mixed-Use Industrial City. That place would be, the hub of massive industrialization. And also, lots of industries are already showing interest and have shown interest. In fact, the development efforts have, gotten to advanced stages in this AMIC, city. We have the Onitsha 2.0, where we want to birth the new Onitsha, and talk about the dry seaport and along that corridor. We have the Anambra State Rail Master Plan, fully planned and awaiting implementation. There's so much that has happened in the state so far. I can tell you that in the last 34 months, when you look at the level of infrastructural transformation that's happened in Anambra State, it is second to none. The state has never had it any good. As of today, we have over 700 kilometers of road, awarded, with about 410 kilometers fully asphalted. And we have, a process, an agency of government, called AMA, that is undertaking what we call the Operation Zero Pothole. And by that record, by that effort alone, we have covered rehabilitated over 412 kilometers of road. And today in Anambra State, this is a state that is 33 years old this year, without a befitting government house and governor's lodge. Where they used today as governor's lodge was a construction yard by the company that built the Enugu-Onitsha Express Road. But today, that 33-year-old jinx is already broken, because both the new governor's lodge and the new government house are at 95% stage of completion, awaiting commissioning. Today we have what we call the Anambra, the Solution Fund City, a massive leisure park, that has both the amusement park and the water park. And as of today, we are made to understand that it's the largest in West Africa, coming up rapidly in Oka, the state capital. You would agree with me that if the young people of Anambra State are engaged, perhaps criminality and insecurity may reduce. So what plans does it have for the young people of Anambra State? Okay, thank you for that very wonderful question. As of today, it's on record that Governor Soludo is that governor who came into power, and in less than 6 months into his first administration, he employed
5,000 qualified teachers to end the era of schools without teachers. Those who are employed are young people. Now, less than 9 months after that first set of recruitment, he recruited 3,115 more teachers because we needed to equip our school, because schools are as good, according to him, a school is as good as the teachers that teach there. Now, we also have a program called the One Youth, Two Skill. Now, at the heart of the unemployment we have in our country today is that most of our young people are not even employable. But the governor said, no, we have to get them equipped with at least 2 skills so they can become quite productive and relevant. And as of today, we have the governor has graduated, the state has graduated about 5,000, graduated and empowered 5,000 young people, persons in that scheme, and empowered them. The second batch of 8,700 is also in state.
I want you to react to Bianca Ojukwu's appointment. She's a member of ABGA and also a BOT member. How much of an advantage is that to the party and the region? In 30 seconds.
Okay, well, the progressives are uniting, and we believe in the politics of progressivism. So we know that Bianca Ojukwu is an addition to any cabinet and to any government structure, because she's coming with a wealth of experience that is unrivaled. And we're sure it's going to be a huge plus to the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And what does that say about the president?
What
does that say about the president?
Well, like I just told you, that the progressives are uniting.
All right. Sadly, we're out of time, but I'm sure we'll have another conversation before the party primaries and before the governorship election. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Mazi Ejimofor, Opara, National Publicity Secretary of ABGA. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ma.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a great weekend.